Pointing finger engaged.
Welcome back to the Breaker Bros. And tonight we're going to react to the Bengals versus Browns.
React.
And do our prediction for Bengals versus Panthers. So I guess, what were your initial thoughts? Browns game.
This is going to sound really cheesy, but it's like, as Led Zeppelin would say, the song remains the same. And it sounds like this. It's like, I feel like we may have said this, but I definitely know I felt this. It's like I was worried about what? Nick Chubb running into the end zone and Myles Garrett killing the quarterback. And it's exactly what happened, you know? It's like just the same game over and over again, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, you're correct, but early on, I just feel like we had a chance to either go up with the field goal or look like we were actually going to get a touchdown. Ball gets tipped, we get that turnover. Defense, I think, makes a couple stops in a row, but we didn't do anything offensively, and part of it is
defense looked good at the beginning.
Our Achilles heel
fell apart.
It's the same thing as last year. Is that our offensive line is for sure subpar when it comes to elite type pass rushers. Like we just cannot. We just collapse.
That was the thing I was gonna say. I mean, to me, it's like the analysis is simple with the Bengals. Do they have an elite pass rusher? If they do, loss. If they don't have an elite pass rusher, do they otherwise get after the quarterback? If that's yes, then the Bengals lose.
Now,
it's just that simple.
To be fair, I think it was an ugly game. I mean, it was Halloween against the Browns. There's just something weird that goes against them. It's everything that could have went wrong felt like it went wrong.
But I mean, to me, another thing about the game is I feel like they put a lot of the game plan into like showcasing Joe Mixon, and I feel like the Browns saw that and they were like, "Oh, Joe Mixon can't hurt us. Let's just go get after Joe. Like, let's double down and get after Joe." It's almost like had they not showcased Mixon and had he not looked very, harmless. Like he doesn't look like watching that game. He didn't look like he was gonna take it to the house on any given play. And if you're the Browns and you see, 5-6 plays in a row go to him, and he's knocking off big chunks like 4 or 5 yards, you're just like, whatever. We'll give up the run and let's just go hit the quarterback.
I don't think it's necessarily that. I mean, part of it was if we score a touchdown on our first drive, it's a completely different game.
But why didn't we score a touchdown?
Because the ball got tipped and then there was an interception. First drive was good, all the way up to the point where the ball got tipped and it got intercepted, and we still had a chance to catch it if the ball. But like, it's a different game.
Pass rush, right? They forgot that.
That goes back to what I was saying before. No, it's just we cannot handle elite pass rush. It collapses, like it just crushes everything.
But I mean, it's not new.
It's not new. It's just something that we gotta figure out.
Why not run the exact same play to the side that Myles Garrett's not on? I
think your perception's off a little bit, because I think the way we initially handled everything, because we got the ball out quick, it was just there was a turnover, and then after that we became very predictable again. And then I think there was also
the turnovers wrong. The interception was first.
Yes, it was the
and then
first.
The fumble was second.
Yes.
Okay. But my point is, Myles Garrett's the one that tipped it.
Yeah.
For the interception, right?
Yeah, but that's not really a pass rush.
Okay, semantics. But that guy's still over on that side, and you didn't cut him. I don't know if are you allowed to cut people anymore?
No, what? He just jumped up.
I know, but
he made a good play.
It used to be that if you were doing like a quick pass to one side, you cut the defensive end, right? Isn't the offensive lineman supposed to chop him down so he can't jump?
I don't think it's that easy to do that. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's like, because the thing is
I'm
that
not. I'm not saying that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is there's only one Garrett, right?
okay.
Why are you running stuff at his side? Run it to the other side.
That because the guy was open. You throw it to
Yeah,
who's open.
run the exact same play to the other side. We don't have to worry about their best player.
I think it's easy to be, I guess, overly critical because of the results. But I mean, like, he threw it to the right receiver. The receiver still had a chance of catching it. It was just it tipped the ball a little bit off to where because it hit Higgins and then it tipped off of him and that's when it got intercepted. So like it still had a chance.
I'm getting all that, but the point is right.
Right,
I mean,
right. The
he's
thing
still their
is
best
that
player. Why are we attacking their best player?
we're not. He just made an incredible play. Like you can't.
That's what he does.
Okay, so credit to him. I don't understand. If you want to talk about some of the other things where like he like did that spin move against two people, that's different. Like that's something that I think you can. But that you're asking an offensive line because the advantage that he has is that he's looking at the quarterback. He knows when he's getting ready to throw. So
Yeah,
the offensive lineman's got to react to what he's doing. So as soon as he jumps
blaming
up,
the offensive line, I'm blaming the play design. Right, know where Myles Garrett is, right?
So you're just gonna throw it to the opposite side every single time?
Not every single time, but if I'm gonna
so you're
run
just gonna
a
throw it to
play
the side
where I
that's not
gotta
open?
worry about a tip pass, I'm not gonna throw it to the side with like the 6'8" guy that's built like a superhero who like.
But
is like a
who
freak
was open
athlete.
on the other side? I don't think it's like it's that. I think you're oversimplifying. Like he just made a good play. Yeah,
He's
it
their
is.
best player. Why are we
all the
doing
way up to
stuff
the
like that
point
on
where
his
we're
side?
dinking and dunking and we're getting around it and doing exactly what you were saying. It was just it happened to go their way. But at the same time, like we got to be able to recover and we got to be able to continue to move the ball down the field. Like it just ever since that point where we threw that interception, it just went downhill kind of quickly. And then at least for a little bit, like let's say throughout most of the first quarter and then maybe halfway through the second quarter, that's when it really started to go downhill. But like defense made some really good stops. We blocked a field goal. We got a few turnovers on our end. So like, but the thing is, if we don't score and they can just continue to run like that,
Yeah,
the dam is eventually going to break.
I stopped watching after the halftime, so I read that they scored their first points in the fourth quarter, but they definitely didn't score in the first half, right?
Yeah, but I guess it was just a crappy game. I mean, like it was just. I think the chase effect is bigger than what I thought, but at the same time, like we're gonna adjust, and luckily we do have Carolina.
Well, but the problem is that they can't run the ball, so they either need to change their play calling or change their personnel, right? It's just not working. Nobody is afraid of the Bengals running the ball. Like,
but
just
like you're making it seem like. I don't know. I do agree it's got to improve to a certain extent, but I don't know. Like we're getting close. Like we do have to figure it out though. Like now is the time to really like to hone in.
Yeah, I mean, I said this back when they started to suck at the beginning of the year, and then they turned it around. But I hate the plan of we're just gonna get better. I hate that plan. I'm like, either get a different person or do something different. Don't think that we're just gonna roll out the same stuff that we've been doing that hasn't been working.
But who are we gonna
get?
get?
Magically gonna work.
Who are we gonna get? I think most people going into the season thought for sure the running game was gonna be a lot better than what it has been.
I thought so
too. But I guess my point is like you can't just make that drastic change during the season. We're kind of like
start P Ryan.
I think I don't get it. I think you put too much value into P Ryan. I don't think P Ryan. I mean, if any boost you might get from P Ryan, if anything, and don't get me wrong, I like him. I just like Mixon a lot more. It's just that he might be a better blocker. Yeah, I get from that perspective.
I mean, come on, he's We're
Okay,
gonna say
he's
for
a
sure
better
he's a better
blocker.
blocker.
I'm not gonna like that's not like a hill I'm gonna die on. Like I would be
He's for
easily
sure
admit
better
that he's a
blocker,
better
right?
blocker, but big play
Yes.
potential, he's not even close to
But
doing
Mixon
some.
hasn't made any big plays. So
But who made
that's
big
the
plays?
difference.
I just like I think
That's what I'm saying though. I'd rather have a guy that's going to get me 4 yards and is
who's
going to
that
make the
guy?
block. That's P. Ryan.
No, it's
He's
not.
averaging like 4 yards a carry,
No,
and he can block.
if he had the same amount of looks and I mean, he's playing full time, he'd be doing the same thing that Mixon's doing, and probably a little bit
No,
less
except he'd
overall.
still block.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'd have that little bit.
So
We would
you
have
get that. So that's my point. And then maybe you bring in Mixon for less carries, but then maybe he can hit a big play because he's fresher. I'm just saying you got to mix stuff up.
I think it's more to do with the play calling is not where.
Okay,
like,
then change that. I'm okay with that too.
Okay, well, you can't. A lot of this stuff you can't change mid-season. Like you just can't do that.
Well, I still maintain that.
Anyways, going
you
back to
can
what I was saying
design a
before,
play- you can design a play where
I
that
think it's just that we got to adapt to not having Chase, and I think going against Carolina would be like a good week to kind of like figure that out. So like we could be overly pessimistic.
they're not figuring it out.
You can
They're
say
just
that.
beating teams. They're just beating teams that don't have good pass rushers.
Okay, well the
It's like
majority.
the same stuff. It
There's
just
only
works
a handful of
against
teams that actually
can't
have
rush the
elite pass
passer,
rushers.
right?
So from that perspective, like we still have a lot of opportunities that we could win, and there's still a possibility that we can figure out to where we can just get good enough to not make it to where if they do have that elite pass rusher, that it's ultimately going to tip the game over. You know, like we still have that potential. It's still like we got to figure it out. I guess to me, like what we got to do is just adjust not having Chase, right? And then just not having those turnovers is so huge. And but at the same time, like you kind of have to give credit to the defensive players, like that, like when he tipped it was all like kind of like in my opinion like somewhat calculated, but a little bit dumb luck because it was just like he tipped it up.
Dumb luck.
But the receiver still touched it. He still could have caught the
They were
ball.
going to get the ball out fast, so he just jumped and knocked it down.
He did not knock it down. He tipped it off a little bit.
Okay,
and it changed the trajectory.
So you're saying
I'm do you
saying
not
it's
remember the
lucky
play?
that he tipped it, and you're saying that it's lucky that the tip resulted in an interception.
Yes, because it
not
still
just
hit
like,
Higgins' hands. It's just
incompletion.
one of those things where like when you do something a lot and you get used to like the ball always being there, right? Because I'm sure they practice that play over and over. It's a real simple route. Like he threw it to everything was right. It was just they happened to make a good play in the thing. It was just it went a little bit off, right? So he had to adjust his hands. He got his hands there late, and then it tipped off, and then it went to the corner. It literally hit our receiver's hands.
Yeah, but
literally.
my point, and I've probably said this a number of times, but I'm going to make the point another way because I'm like a dog who found a bone. Let's say that we're going to do a poll of who's the tallest guy on the field.
If your point, like
who can jump the highest? Who has the highest?
So your solution is to always throw it to the other side of the field. You know how predictable that would be?
No, not always throw it to the other side.
That's what you just said.
No.
Okay, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this?
Like that? Yeah, I wouldn't run it to that side. No,
run it or throw it.
It's run or throw, right? I would not run that play in that direction.
Again, so you would run all the plays to the other side of the field.
Over the top of Myles Garrett.
You know how predictable that would be?
Oh yeah, like the Bengals are unpredictable.
They're probably one of the more predictable, NFL teams. But at the same time,
if you're running RPO,
we got to execute.
Don't run it at Myles Garrett. That's all I'm saying. Like, actually show some respect for the player and say, yeah, we can't beat him. So let's not have the success or failure of a play depend on us throwing.
There was plenty of times where we did because like we were just getting the ball so out. so quick out of Bro's hands that it didn't do anything to the rush.
Yeah.
That was not a.
They still have what, like 5 sacks?
I just
6
don't
sacks?
like.
8?
Obviously, we had to do something different, but just to throw it always to a different opposite side of where their elite player is not necessarily a solution. I just like if you want to become very predictable, that's what you do right there.
I didn't say always throw it there. I'm saying if you're going to do that play, don't run that play at Myles Garrett.
So
run it the other side.
Do you know how many plays all the way up to that point that we threw on Garrett's side?
Did we try to throw it over his head?
On that one play, but you're not answering my question. How many plays did we run to his side all the way up to that point?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're making assumptions. Like
I was mad.
I know.
Distracted by Chad
because
Powers.
You're taking low hanging fruit
very fast.
It did go south very fast because like we just didn't have anything or no real offensive spark. But I think again, it just goes back to there is an adjustment of not having Chase because he used to get that so much attention or whatever. But
yeah, I'm not denying that. I mean,
but
Chase
at the same time,
he's a Hall of Fame player, and you take him off the field, and teams were afraid of him. So you take him off the field, and now they're not playing as deep as they were. Right now, they're crowding up because they're not afraid of the Bengals throwing it over the top, and then. You can't run the ball, so now they're not even afraid of the run. They're just keying in on stopping the pass and getting after Joe Burrow.
I just think, again, like my biggest thing is just at first it comes to play calling a lot of times, but obviously we're at a deficiency when it comes to the offensive line because I do think I think they did as much as they could, or maybe they could have done a little bit more, but they did a lot over in the offseason, and I think most people expected that there would be better results. I do think Collins is probably hurt or did suffer some significant injury during because he doesn't even look as good as what he was last year. Like last year he was actually like a pretty viable player, but now he just seems he can be like a liability, especially against anyone very, very quick. But there's still room for improvement, and at some point well, you don't have to, but for me, I do kind of trust, or I do trust more our coaching staff than maybe just us, the general fans, because they do have more insight. They probably have more of a feel of the pulse of what's actually going on. But we do still have room for improvement, and we just need to get a little bit better, and it can change the outcome drastically. But we definitely got to win this week. We got to go into the bye.
Yeah, to me, I think the playoffs are out. You want to have me share my screen? I'll show you the.
You're like we're 4-4, and you think we were 5-4 last year, which I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we have a pretty good chance of being 5-4.
I remember we beat the Steelers by 50 points last year. So right now, the 538 projections have us to be slightly under 50% to make the playoffs. And they're predicting a record of 9-8. I'm just very pessimistic now. I mean, I thought that was such so now the Bengals cannot have a winning record in the division. So
but that's not going to keep us out of the playoffs,
right?
though. That's not like a thing that's going to keep us out of the playoffs.
Well, but the schedule is tough, right?
If we go 3-3, we have a great chance of making the playoffs, though.
What's that?
If we go 3-3, we have a great chance of making the playoffs.
3-3, what, the last 6 games?
In the division.
In the division, okay.
Yeah, because you're saying we can't have a winning record. I'm saying if we go 3-3,
okay,
we have a great chance of making the playoffs. If we go 3-3 in the division. I don't know if we'll do that, but if we go 3-3 in the division, we have a great chance of making the playoffs.
I mean, they're a 500 team now, so
right.
If they win next week, then they have to be 500 for the rest of the year.
We're a 500 team now, but we're only one game behind first place. So technically, we could just stay
but
one
they have the
game.
tiebreaker on us, right? Because
Yeah,
they're gonna have a better division record.
but we still play them one more time.
Yeah, but they have the tiebreaker because they have the better division record.
What's their division record?
Well, they beat us.
Okay.
They beat the Steelers.
I don't know.
I think they beat. Did they beat the Browns? I don't know. They might be 3-0 in the division. Baltimore Ravens schedule.
It's just so funny how but it's the NFL. I always say this because it's like it's so up and down from week to week. I just remember even last week we were just saying we had like 70% chance of making the playoffs, and now we're like, we can't make the playoffs. Trust me, it was a very disheartening game. Like I was very disappointed when I was watching it. I had to stop watching it because it just got to the point where it's like I don't even want to waste my time. Like, like.
Oh yeah, I turned that off fast.
But at the same time, like it's we're not where we need to be, but we're not. The things we have looking forward to, and something I do want to hit on because I'll just say it now. Our starting cornerback, Awuzie, he got hurt, so that's a big deal because he was doing really good this year.
Yeah,
but
he was really good last year too.
I think it's gonna be an interesting introduction, and it's gonna get. I think apparently, if I understand it correctly, I think Dax Hill might be taking over his position. Really? Well, yeah, I think what they're gonna do is, or at least what I saw. But one way or another, he's gonna get more time. I'm sure it's gonna be a combination of what Hill, our other rookie corner, and then of course Apple, which I don't think he was active last week or this previous game against the Browns. But
so the Ravens are 2-0 in the division.
Okay.
They still need to play the Steelers 2 more times.
So we really got to root for the Steelers when they play the Ravens, but I think they're
kind of
going into tank
their
mode.
Schedule's pretty soft. So they got the Saints.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I think that's the biggest advantage
Broncos,
of the Ravens is that they have a really soft schedule. But
Steelers twice, Falcons, and then us.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you compare difficulty of schedule, division record, I just don't see the Bengals being able to win the division. And then according to like these
We're
statistics,
in a rough spot.
they have the Bengals at a 14% chance of winning the division.
We're in a rough spot.
So, I mean,
it's very important to see how teams respond too. So, like, if we go against Carolina, which is
Am I still sharing my screen?
Not right now. No, I can.
Okay, good. No, that's all right. Did you share it at all?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. That's good enough. That was perfect amount. Whatever you did, just.
I don't know. It definitely sucks. It was definitely a disheartening game, but I think I probably was overreacting at the night of, and it's just after having a few days off and just not like.
Teddy went to bed. I was yelling at the TV about Joe Mixon, and he was just like, "I'm going to bed."
We still have a really good team. I do believe.
I'm not saying the team's bad. I mean, the thing that pisses me off and the thing that I get upset with is you got 5 years of Joe Burrow on this first contract, right? First year was completely.
Dude, he's going to get a contract extension this offseason. So this is.
But you're missing the point.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the salary cap number, the low dollar years of Joe Burrow.
This would be the last year
right now. Huh?
This would be the last year, yeah.
Is this the last year of it, or you get? This is the third year, right?
Yeah, but it's
so
100%. They're gonna extend him because you kind of from the Bengals' perspective, a contract extension with the additional year is a little bit cheaper than doing like a full.
Yeah. Okay, but my point is that you're wasting the years where it's easy, right? Because you have extra salary cap money to fix your problems, right? When Joe Burrow gets his big contract, when Jamar Chase gets his big contract, then it becomes hard because now you got to find, you got to develop your own players, right? Now's the time when you can just go buy the things you need.
I agree to a certain extent, but I think what we're finding out is that I think the writing is on the wall. I think I kind of don't see Mixon on the team next year because, like, I think the way his contract looks is that.
Yeah, how much is he getting paid next year? 18?
No, I think the most he was gonna get was like 14, but it's to the point where it's like $3 million or so, whatever dead money, but it's like double digits that you would free up in space, and it's just like
it's not even the space. It's just like,
well, you just gotta look at like where you want to allocate that money, right? I think it makes sense that
and it may not even be like the. I'm not necessarily saying he's a bad player necessarily. It's just like I feel like the Bengals, with the way their offense is, they want
you want more
like
of a spread,
smaller, faster guy, right?
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that we could probably draft his replacement and do that thing where we're constantly going for like a running back and just have to hit on playmaking ability like running backs that are kind of a little bit above average. You know what I mean? Like you do that, and then because I think the play is that you got to figure out a way to keep Burrow, obviously Chase, and if you keep Higgins, then that's where you can do that running back thing. If you get rid of Higgins, then you probably need a little bit more. You got to find somewhere like where you can you have that option of field where you can have that really big dynamic player. Another route that you could go is maybe get that in a tight end somehow or whatever. But I think if they could find a way to keep Higgins and Chase long term,
drafting tight ends.
Well, it's just like I think that's the play because like we can get by with
just
free agent tight
trade
ends
for TJ Hawkinson, right? I mean, he got traded for like a 5th and a 4th and a 5th or something. I mean, it's just, to spend a first-round draft pick on a tight end just doesn't seem to work more often than not.
Yeah, no, I mean, but with the way our landscape is looking right now, is that we still have our trio, right? At least for one more year, right? So, like, getting another receiving option is not like the biggest or immediate need. So we still have one more that year, but we have to get better.
Well,
offensive tackles.
Gotta draft that. I mean, the Bengals need to go and sign like an elite tackle, offensive tackle,
or draft one. Like that's a possibility.
You can't draft one.
I don't know. The one like I think the Panthers guy is doing really well.
I just don't think you can draft them. I definitely know the Bengals can't draft them.
Well, I think you might have a point on that,
but I mean, my point is that when you draft them, they're not elite. They could become elite, but they're usually like show potential and are pretty good, but they're not like an elite left tackle coming out of college.
Yeah, I think that's what we need. We just need one of our tackles to be above average, and I think maybe Collins, and I don't know, because like he's another person that could probably get replaced. Potentially.
The other thing is
both of our tackles
Jonah Williams is hurt. I mean, maybe we're being unfair.
No,
I mean he came out that was it the Saints game with like a knee.
Okay, so let's go back to that because like our biggest threat is obviously those elite pass rushers, right? How many more of it do we have to deal with? I know we have to play the Browns one more time, potentially the Steelers.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I pulled that stuff up
because I think that's what it's going to come down to, and then we might have time.
So you have let's see here, the top 10 defensive end, outside linebacker, pass rush win rate according to ESPN. So we played Micah Parsons. That seems like a legit stat, right?
So we don't have to worry about him again.
We got to play Myles Garrett, so we got to play him again.
Yeah.
Right. So this is easy. We can just count, right? Because we have 9 more games?
Yeah.
9. So we got 1 game against Myles Garrett. We already played the Dolphins, so we don't have to worry about Bradley Chubb.
Don't have to
Trey
worry about the
Hendrickson's
Eagles.
on the Bengals, so we don't have to worry about him.
Which I said he was top 5. I just want to point that out.
This has him as 4, so that would be accurate. Von Miller. So that's 2. Rashawn Gary, Nick Bosa. So that's it there for outside linebackers. And then in the defensive tackle pass rush win rate, we've got Chris Jones for the Chiefs. They have him 1. And then they have Matthew Ioannidis at 9.
So that'd be this weekend. But it's not really the interior that I'm worried about. It's usually the.
I'm kind of with you on that because I feel like the interior.
Because if the interior breaks out,
it's the outside guys that just wreck everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the inside of the pocket collapses, then usually Bro breaks out and then he does more of his magic that way. But it's usually what kills us is that just that outside rush where they just get around the guy so fast that like he literally only has 2 seconds and he's down. That's what kills us. It's like you eliminate half of those plays, like it's a completely different ball game. So like I don't know, the writing's on the wall, and then like it's just the way as far as like safeties is like I feel like we got to find a way. Like obviously Bates is not going to be back, but we got to keep Bell. I mean, Bell is just like. What are you looking at now?
Try to look at team statistics. Am I sharing?
Not now, but I can.
Okay, good. No, I'm not ready. Not ready.
Well, let's just start talking about the Panthers though. So like, let's.
Okay.
I feel like this is a good game to kind of get back on track, to kind of get that win before we get into the bye. Hopefully, we get a little bit healthier because
using my patented, according to you, overly simplistic view. Bengals should be fine.
Fine with what?
Against the Panthers, because they are one of the worst teams at sacking the quarterback.
Well, I think there's many more reasons than that. I mean, they're playing with their backup quarterback.
He seems to be better than their starter.
Potentially, but then his starter is the one that we were worried about, right? Baker?
Yeah, they do, but they still have Baker. They might dust him off. Throw him in there.
But we're playing their backup quarterback. They got rid of their biggest playmaker in Christian McCaffrey. So, like, we're playing at home.
They've looked feisty the last 2 weeks, you know?
Didn't they trade it? No, it was just Christian McCaffrey, I think.
Mm-hmm. Who, I mean, to be fair, they really didn't seem to understand how to use him. So at least the current, or I guess the previous offensive coordinator really didn't seem to like, know that you just throw him the ball. But I can't find defensive stats. But I want to say the Panthers have only had 9 sacks all season.
Which is crazy.
There we go. All right. Now I can share. I can pull it up. Or I had it and then I lost it. Oh, I'm wrong. They have 12 sacks as a team. It's the Raiders that have 9. But 12 puts them tied with the Falcons.
Yeah, but we only have 14, it looks like, right?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to sack the quarterback when you score 0 points in the first half.
And Cowboys had the most.
For reference, the Cowboys have 33.
Whew.
Ravens have 23. So, the Bengals have played against some teams that can get after the quarterback for sure. So, because of that, right, you feel a little bit better about the Panthers. And Let's see here. Here's the 538 prediction. They have the Bengals as an 80% win probability. And like their metric for the point spread says that the Bengals should be favored by 9.5. And then the sports book has the Bengals favored by 7.5. So how are you feeling going into the game?
Well, it should be a winnable game. Like the way we play against the Falcons is the way I feel like we should play against them. But
And they basically tied the Panthers.
yeah, but I don't know. I like I said, I feel better than what I did a few nights ago. I still think we're gonna win. I'm just gonna go out with my prediction. I'm gonna say it's gonna be
Okay.
We'll go 24-17. I feel
24 to 17.
Yeah.
Okay. So 24-17. So that's the under and no cover, right? 24-17.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say lower points because it just looks so bad. But the Panthers can't get after the quarterback. So I don't know. I jinxed it last time. So I'm going to stick with my low prediction. I'm going to go 17-10. I just think it's going to be messy. Actually, I don't even know, man. I mean, the defense is going to be. I mean, they're missing their best player or their best defensive back. So, but I'm going to stick with it 17-10. But I don't feel very confident in it.
I don't know. Who do we play the Steelers when we get back, right? For them bye?
Sounds about right.
I think so.
I can't remember.
Because I think we play the Steelers and then Titans after the bye. Feel pretty confident in that because I looked into it when I was for my trip back up to Cincinnati.
Oh, you going to the game?
No.
Or one of them?
No, I just wanted to see if they were home or away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, November 20th. I think it's the Thursday night game, right?
No. We were ahead our Thursday night.
Oh, so it's a Sunday night game.
Oh, that's a Sunday night game?
Yeah, at Pittsburgh then. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, after the bye, it's Pittsburgh, then Tennessee Titans, then the Chiefs, then the Browns again, then the Buccaneers. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the Buccaneers. Yeah, I feel like they're the same position as the Bengals. No one knows if they're like, what direction they're going.
They're kind of built to get after the quarterback though.
Chiefs is going to be difficult, obviously. Browns.
Well, we know how that's going to go.
No, I think Chase should be back by then.
Yeah, he hasn't played defense.
Yeah, but the defense did fine all the way up until like halftime, basically.
Yeah, the defense did fine, but if the offense isn't scoring, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that goes back to why
eventually
I'm saying Chase
defense
will be
wears
back,
out
so
because
I
you
feel
got
like
those two good running backs just pounding them. They're not built for that game. They're built for
not only I think Chase should technically be back, but then we're gonna have Reader as well, and that's gonna be a big difference.
But I mean, I think the Bengals are built to beat teams like the Chiefs, right? They're not built to beat teams like the Browns. Like, I mean, the defense is exceptional when they get a little bit of a lead. The team they're playing against, you kind of know they're going to want to throw it.
I'd say
that's
like
where the defense really puts the clamps down.
I feel like the next 3 games, like we kind of have to go 3-1.
3-1 in the next 4 games.
Minus the Panthers. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Steelers from after the bye. Basically, we have to go 3-1.
Yeah, that's why I'm very pessimistic. I don't see 3-1 in that.
because it's the Steelers, Browns. I feel like we
Titans,
kind of have to beat the Titans. That way, if
and the Chiefs.
because they're hot right now. They're probably going to win their division, but you still want to have that advantage for like a tiebreaker. I'm assuming.
There's going to be no tiebreaker. I mean, this schedule is very back heavy. You know,
I kind of like our chances against the Titans, but at the same time, the Steelers and Titans are away.
yeah. I don't
But
like
after
our
that,
chances against
we
the
have a lot of
Titans.
home games, I guess, outside of the Buccaneers. But I feel like we have a lot of home games coming up towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Then you got the Bills. I mean, just the
Schedule's tough.
schedule's very tough, and that's why I've been so pessimistic with them not building like a buffer, because I felt like they were going to need it towards the end of the year. I mean, they play the Patriots, they play the Bills, they play
Have
the
to beat the
Ravens again.
Patriots. I wouldn't say we have to beat the Buccaneers, but we kind of have to, because at that point we need to start stacking wins. But
Yeah, there is no margin for error left in the schedule. They cannot lose to teams that have bad records, because otherwise they would what? I mean, if you like say they lose to the Steelers, well then that means you have to make up the win against what? The Bills then? I mean, it doesn't even make sense logically, right?
first we got to beat the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
but like I said, I want to see the rebound. If we go in there and we dominate like we should, then I'll feel more comfortable. If we go in there, look, it's sluggish again, then yeah, that's more room for concern. You know, like it's just gonna add to it.
Yeah. All right. Well said. I think we can just end it there.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
Need to dominate.
Let's get that W. We need another win.
Dominate.
Let's go, Joe Mixon, predicting over 100 yards rushing. Let's go. Bold.